This week on Food Journey, it's all about making my favorite local Nigerian dish, Egusi, and we're going from produce to plate on this one in an exciting way. So let's go on a foodie trip together, from start to finish line. A trip to the market is never fortuitous. It's pure intent, with the inner knowledge that my purchases will put in motion all that's necessary for a beautiful result. For instance, haggling over these beautiful sweet peppers, which will feature in my soup today. For these recipes, my ingredients are specific and very common within the Nigerian food spectrum. And even in these cautious times, a visit to the market is a necessity if you're budget conscious and seek good quality produce every time. Vegetables. There are a plethora of leaves, so you're really spoilt for choice in front of this fresh, beautiful spread. But my target is ugu, and I'm told it's not to be found right here. Further in, approaching, I see a sighting of deep red, and that leads me to some beautiful peppers and tatashe. In this case, an old customer of mine who receives me with reassurance that I've made the right choice. Assorted fresh red peppers will represent the heat today in my egusi, and I'm looking for some which have been around a few days for more concentrated flavor like these tatashe. My MO is self-selection, and it's also my secret to assuring that you get exactly what you want. I'm taking my time, and I'm enjoying the process too. You've got to keep your eyes open though, making sure you've been given the best. And that's equally satisfying as well. I've found the ugu now, and we need this. I'm also glad I've found a stall which seems to have 80% of the ingredients on my list. And this lovely lady is happy to see me, but still very shy. These cute little smoked catfish and open fish are calling me. Decisions. I think I'll have some of these, and some stockfish too. This resilient leaf is ugu, with its thick vine and tough stems. It will be my veg, and is really healthy too. I spotted some palm oil, and we need this essential purchase indeed. Look at these turquoise periwinkles, here removed from their shell. And as if I didn't have enough heat, who could resist a little more pepper? I think the Jamaican in me is drawn to these Scotch bonnets.
I like this one.
All done here. And I bought my crayfish from this Calabar lady, so I am assured of high quality and a sand-free cupful. One of the things I love about the market is that you can go from purchase to processing in the twinkle of an eye. And right here behind me, this gentleman will grind my crayfish to perfection. He's also selling melon seed, or egusi, one of the main players in my dish. All of this will be ground for me with the same machine. And then we're ready to use any way you want in the kitchen. This is onion season, and they're not going to cost as much as they normally do. So I'm going to get some assorted ones and just spend a fraction of the cost from the last 5 months. I'll be needing one other important ingredient today for the dish, and everyone knows I limit my reliance on stock cubes in my food, so this iru is the perfect alternative. The pungent and umami flavor of the fermented locust beans brings everything together for our traditional foods. And look at these lovely beans. They were just too lovely to pass up. So our market trip is done. And I'm really happy with all the fresh and beautiful purchases. Now let's go into the kitchen and create some magic together. Well, we are back from the market. Wasn't that fun? And now it's time to get started on all these busy tasks. It's a little bit fussy what we're doing, and we need to take our time and do everything properly. So let's have a look at some of those ingredients that we brought back and start on the first of our very busy tasks. My selection of protein today is an assorted array of yummy tastes and textures. There's tripe or shaki, smoked catfish, the umami flavor of the dry codfish, and a special edition of smoked chicken will all be gracing my pot today. Here are a few tools: a clean wire scrubber and some salt as well to clean the fish. The bag is for the bits and pieces. These sticks, which kind of fuse the fish into a round shape, need to come out. And then using the salt as abrasion, just scrub off all the excess sand or grit that they might have picked up from the market and transit from source. That having been done, start by beheading the fish, if you aren't including them, and remove the dark bits around the head and gills, which can be a little bit bitter in my experience. Then you can start extracting the flesh, which we want, and the bones, which we don't. And I even like to leave a little bit of skin on too, for an extra added flavor lift. Because I don't want the fish soggy, I'll be steaming it in my steamer with a little salt to soften it. We don't want smoked fish with no bite in it. The tripe needs to be cut into nice chunks, so when it shrinks a bit, which it will, it still looks substantial. Let's talk about the flavor balance that I'm trying to create today. Because everything I'm using has its own beautiful natural flavor, it's not really necessary for me to put too many other spices to it. So today we will not be using thyme, curry, bay leaves, garlic even. We're going to be relying on the natural taste of those ingredients and really allowing them to sing. And also it will not distract from that beautiful traditional flavor. I've washed the tripe now, and we're adding the rest of the protein, but very little water at the base. Some chopped onion, and also some salt. Remember those beautiful Scotch bonnet peppers? We mustn't forget them. Now for the vegetable, the ugu, which needs to be picked as close to the leaf as possible, and then rinsed well before I blanch them in some boiling water to sterilize them even further. Once they've cooled down, you can chop them up. And do this as small as you need them. And then go over and check the meat. I'll be removing the chicken because it takes the shortest time to cook, and putting the rest back on to soften further on the fire. One of the things that I'm doing a little differently today, and I'm calling my own really, is something to the egusi that we're going to be using. Now, my experience in the past has sometimes been that the egusi in egusi soup is a little bit soft, a little bit moist, and sometimes even a bit creamy. And I prefer it to be a little bit more uniform in the pot. So I'm going to share with you how I achieve this right now. I want to pre-steam my egusi and add flavor to it. So I'm cutting up an onion. Egusi is fairly bland, and by adding the onion with a little water, we can create a slurry of sorts. Once it's blended, add all of it to your ground egusi, and then gradually more water bit by bit, so we can achieve a thick, flavored, ready-to-use paste for the next stage. With a little water underneath, we'll just transfer the paste in batches at a time into the steamer, leaving some breathing space, and then let this steam until it's firm. You can see that here. All you do with this is tip it all into a bowl like so. And begin separating it with a fork. It will yield, and then begin the process again for the rest of your egusi. This is indeed a long process, a labor of love to be precise. Our meat selection is ready, and I've put it all in categories as well, saving the precious stock for later. And instead of frying the meat, I've concentrated deep flavor further by putting it under my grill. And look at the beautiful texture and the color. I think I could chew this right now. For my pepper mix, which is essential for so many of our Nigerian dishes, I'm going to be doing something slightly different than what I normally do. Usually I would blend my peppers and my tatashe and my bell peppers in the blender, but sometimes that gives you a little bit of a runny consistency. I'm also going to be using my food processor, which is going to allow me to get a little bit thicker mix than I would do in the blender. Okay, let's do this delicious pepper mix. I have a variety of things here. Onion, as you can see, some beautiful yellow Scotch bonnet. These are hot. And I've got red bell pepper. I've also got beautiful tatashe. And if you look carefully, you can see that these are in fact a little bit older. They're more dehydrated, more concentrated, more flavor. All of this is going to go into my handy food processor and create that sort of rougher mix than we're used to getting from a blender. We don't want the seeds. These Scotch bonnets are really hot, so one will do. And all of this now has to be blended roughly. Look at our result. Just what I want to see. And it smells great too. We are inching closer to the pot with our base ingredients all ready. My favorite stock cube, iru, and that fabulous crayfish, pepper mix, and palm oil too. Okay, my favorite bit, palm oil. Close your eyes, I'm going to be generous. There we go. And into this, I'm going to be adding the onions. And then our iru. That's my favorite stock cube. And we'll just let that go for a little while. Right, time to have a look at that. And the onions are nice and translucent, well, as much as they can be in that beautiful red oil. And we're going to add our crayfish. How beautiful the smell is that's coming from that. Just lovely. And we don't want to wait too long before we add in our pepper mix, because the crayfish can get a little bitter if it's left for too long in that oil to start. So here we go with our pepper mix all in. Delicious. It's lovely and chunky the way I wanted it to be. And let's just give this a lovely stir. And we're going to leave this just to fry. Let's add a pinch of salt and mix that in. And we'll come back in about 20 minutes. Okay. Ooh. Look at that lovely separation. We're catching a bit at the bottom, but not too much, that's okay. I'd say another 2 minutes and we can add our meat. So now remember this lovely meat. We've got our beautiful smoked chicken, which I'm very excited about, and the transformed tripe or shaki. And let's get that in because we want it to have a delicious swim inside this sauce. So in that goes, in these go, in it all goes. And we're just going to mix that all about and let everything get to know each other nicely. Oh yeah, loving that. Time for our saved meat stock. As much as you need for your thickness of consistency, and I want mine half and half. So in stockfish goes. I'm holding back on that Scotch bonnet because we've got quite a bit of pepper in there already. But I like a lot of stockfish. Let's load it. There we go. You think I have enough? Why not a little bit more? Go on. And the lovely bit of stock at the base there. Okay. Next, the last of my stock water, and let's give this all a delicious stir. Totally. 10 minutes later, we can add our ugu leaves and let them have time to soften as we give these a gentle stir in the mix. Well, everybody, this whole kitchen is smelling fantabulous. That's a new word. And because we've cooked our ugu now, it's time to add our egusi. Now remember, if you hadn't cooked the egusi, you would have added that first and then the ugu. But because this is all cooked and ready to rock, all we have to do is put it in, cover it up for another 5 to 6 minutes, and we are ready to make our accompaniment. And guess what that's going to be? Some good old eba. So how much to put in? You can see it's all nice and separated, and it is steamed. So we're, I would say, 95% of the way to this being ready. How much do I want? Well, let's see. I'll start with that and then just start mixing this in. Ho ho ho. Look at that. This is what we're dying for. Lovely. Oh yes. Just gotta sort of patiently mix it all together, getting the underneath bits like this. And you see how easily it breaks up as well. There we go. Gari is a staple, and what better accompaniment to our egusi than this? My method is a cooked one. Salting nearly boiling water, and with a wooden spoon, turning the gari, adding more gradually till all the grains have absorbed the water properly. And then you can shape this. And turn it into a bowl. And we are ready. Well, the whole house is smelling absolutely amazing, and I have really been put under a food spell, I'll tell you for sure. And I hope that you've all enjoyed yourself today and learned some new little tricks on how to make something that we all know and love. It's time for me to say goodbye from Food Journey. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Food Journey has a new Instagram. It's FOODJERNY @Food Journey. So if you were following us before, please come and follow us here now.